Pradeep Bhandari, founder Jan Ki Baat, spent a lot of time in the northeast and all of these areas, so can tell us what the mood is.
Let's understand the state. The state is divided into two types of voters, left voters and anti-left voters.
Exactly.
Never in the state you had an opposition to the CPM in terms of foot on the ground. Post 2014, BJP mobilized its cadres completely. So BJP as an opposition is the first opposition in the state. Congress was an elitist opposition which could not mobilize cadre on the state. BJP used a strategy called as a CHAMP strategy, that is C, mobilize cadres on the ground, H, mobilize the majority community, that is the Hindus, A, do an aggressive campaign, M, the Modi effect, and P, get to power consolidation. So I think that's the ingredient. If you look at, if you remember, before the Gujarat election results, Hardik Patel had tweeted that EVMs might be rigged. Mr. Chopra is also using the same defensive strategy. At one time, they were saying that we cannot be defeated, we'll get the absolute majority, and look at the defensive stance right now. So clearly, I have traveled in the state for 25 to 30 days. The issue is that Manrega is being selectively deprived. The issue is that it has the highest joblessness. The issue is that the maximum party is there in the state. The issue is that the youth want the change, and for the first time there is an opposition to the change. Despite of Manik Sarkar himself personally having a clean image, but his government suffering because of Rose Valley scam, his government suffering because there is an opposition which is countering it at each point. And this is the first election which is happening on the EVM. So there is technology which is mapping, and that's why Mr. Chopra is saying a defensive strategy that, okay, fine, the election might be rigged. This is a defensive tool, because if he is confident, he should be saying that we are winning on A, B, C. In fact, in CPM's manifesto, they have not promised even one thing for Tripura. Ask him on his manifesto, what have they promised to Tripura? They have not promised anything. In fact, Tripura is the only state in this country where the chief election officer sits in the same building as the chief minister. So in fact, he should be accused of this thing. Ask, and nobody media has pointed out, in no state in this country, you have the chief election officer sitting on the same floor as the finance minister of Tripura, and the floor which is just the next floor to the chief minister of Tripura. So how can he say that it is rigged? So this is the reality. Ask him if he does not sit on the same floor. You cannot compare the Northeast with the MP in Rajasthan, because you have BJP in MP in Rajasthan with 10 plus years. So there's a level of anti-incumbency. In Rajasthan also is a problem. So exactly. So there, exactly. So the anti-incumbency is going against the CPM. BJP is never a tried and tested phenomenon in Northeast. So there's a freshness also with BJP in Northeast. Tribals historically had their economic activity surrounded with the land. So land is something which is very near to them. So the demand of separate lane per se is not with respect to statehood, but with respect to getting economic activity living going. Post 1947, you had the Bengal. It was initially a tribal dominated state, but the Bengalis came into the state, and then Bengalis as a population became a huge influence in terms of economic activity, in terms of standard of living. So there's the tribal thought that fine, the land is something which is very dear to us. This is where we have our all economic activity going. So the demand is a legitimate demand, but it does not reflect per se separate statehood. It reflects that we want income, our level of income increasing, per capita increasing, and that is where they believe that because historically we've been getting our economic activity going through the land, so that's why land is something which we should have ownership. Name 10 constituencies of Tripura if you've been there.
I have been to Tripura.
So name 10 constituencies where you've been there in the last 1 month without seeing the paper. Economic activity point which I was also mentioning, that any state which will have tribals as majority population, and when you have another population inheriting all the economic activity, land is something which is the last resort where they have this population.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I think the NDPP party is being formed from NPF only, and Rio as a factor, who's an undeclared winner, he's the second big factor which has mobilized these people there. So BJP as a dominant player is not active in Nagaland, but it has formed a coalition which will definitely cross the majority mark. Because let's understand, Nagaland as a state has generally been with the centre. Now BJP Prime Minister Narendra Modi has allocated 10,000 crore of package to Nagaland. He's allocated 1,600 crore to Kohima as a smart city. So clearly the centre is signaled that if you come with us, you will definitely get into the mainstream, because we have the funds, we are there the centre, and the coalition is predominantly a coalition which is born out from NPF itself. If BJP gets Tripura and Nagaland, I think Prime Minister Narendra Modi would cross Indira Gandhi's mark of 18 states. Then BJP will have 20 states under itself. That will be like the biggest ever.
They're already in 19 states.
They're already 18. So if they get Tripura, they'll be 19. No, they're 18 right now. 18, 19. So that will be like highest ever till post-independent India. No, definitely Naga Peace Accord is a factor, and that's where the BJP had a meeting with these 7 regional groups of Nagaland, where they said that yes, the Naga Peace Accord will happen, taking everybody everybody into confidence.
What about the territorial integrity of Manipur?
Let's understand that, right? This is a separate question. So,
But it is involved with the Greater Nagaland issue.
You can't. Come on, Pradyut, you cannot have each clause of the Naga Peace Accord debated on a show or on any national television. We don't know that. I also do not know it. You also do not know it.
So then please make it public.
So it will be made public when it is the right time.